Hello, one and all. This is Soulful Lordy, James Bullock, once again with another video game first impressions. This time around, as Dusk Falls for the Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. As Dusk Falls is a interactive drama, a storyteller very similar to the Telltale games, the Quantic Dream experiences, the Supermassive Games experience that we've had just recently as The Quarry, where you play as one or more characters depending on what section of the story you're at, and make life and death choices that will have lasting effects on not only the people involved but also the psyches of those who are able to survive as the generations pass, as the years go by, and you see into the future of what these characters had to suffer through, had to go through, and at times had to survive through. That is mostly thanks to the fantastic voice acting a majority of the time. A majority of the voice actors are used to this. They have been heard in other games, but in this game not only do you hear their voices, but this is actually a full motion capture, so the characters being depicted are the actual people voicing these characters. So it really ties nicely into making these characters and these people in general feel a lot more human, a lot more relatable. One of the best games in general in regards to the story presentation is the flowchart that happens after each chapter. You're presented with not only the traits of the character that you played as, but also a showcase of the decisions that you made during that chapter, as well as the global percentage of what other players chose alongside your choices. Which means this game cannot be completed fully in one playthrough. There are choices that will take you down one path, and then there are choices that will take you down one path, then another path, then even a bigger path. This game is very, very much minimalistic. It is very simplistic in terms of what it does offer. In reality, all it does offer is the ability to choose and to watch the story. There are no collectibles, there are no interactive scenes in terms of moving your character around, mainly because of the art style. It is a evocative painting-based style. This is similar to, say, Scanner Darkly. The characters in this case are fully 2D, and the only motions that you really get are the illusion of motions. As you see these pictures move from one direction to another in a faded motion to give off the premise of motion. But there are actual motion sequences in the game, usually reserved for vehicles. And one of the best things about this game in terms of just getting friends together is the fact that this game does have a multiplayer option. But unlike, say, The Quarry, where you pick a character and that character is the character that the player that chose it will play and make those choices for that character. Instead, every choice by every character is voted. Now, the game allows for up to 8 players at a time. And not only can you utilize a Xbox controller, but you can also use a keyboard and mouse, and you can use your actual smartphone or tablet via the As Dusk Falls app, so you can make those choices. And if you say have a tie, or you don't like the choice that somebody else made, or the majority percentage of that choice, you can veto that choice, you can override that choice, but you only have a limited number, so you have to make sure you use them wisely, because if you get vetoed or overridden, or you utilize all of yours before a major plot point, you may be out of luck. Technically, the game is actually very good, especially when it comes to sound and the licensed music that is available. The art style may take some getting used to, but it works fairly well. Easily the biggest problem with the game, unfortunately, comes down to gameplay in general. There will be times where there will be an input delay when it comes to certain choices and QTEs or QuickTime events, specifically when trying to rotate in the case of playing on a controller, the analog stick in a fast motion. It takes a little time to register, and depending on how late it does register, it may be a failed QTE. I also noticed some frame rate drops during certain moments of transitions between the quote-unquote animations. Overall, if you've enjoyed these type of games, if you've enjoyed these interactive dramas, these point-and-click adventures, then this is one of actually the best experiences you can get, especially if you're playing with a group of friends, that I've had in quite some time, which is saying something since The Quarry just came out, and I really enjoyed that one as well. But if you're not into these type of games, if you're not into this genre, this will definitely not do anything to really change your mind, other than the fact the accessibility of playing online or offline with friends or in a big group of people may make it a little bit more fun to play as than just playing solo. So if you have some friends that are into the genre, you may be pulled into it as well because you're playing together and having fun. The biggest problem definitely has to be the price tag. At $30, it is kind of steep for a game that is pretty much minimalistic and simplistic in terms of what it does offer beyond a story. Thankfully, it is available on Game Pass, so if you want to try it out, you can download it, try out a few chapters, and if it sticks to you, I definitely suggest putting down your hard-earned money and showing the developer some love, because they really did put together a very fantastic game in terms of a narrative, but in terms of gameplay, it's definitely lacking, even in a genre where gameplay really isn't the focus. So there you have it. This has been Soulful Lordy, James Bullock, once again with another video game first impressions, as Dusk Falls, for the Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. Now, if you don't mind, I'm going to start another playthrough. I think I'm going to be a little bit more aggressive in this playthrough. I was a little bit calmer and nicer in the previous playthrough. But the most important thing is to try to protect Vince's daughter at all costs, because she is a jewel if there ever was one. And if anyone comes after her, they will have no choice but to say, "Oh, Lordy."